Hey, Coach. Good morning. How are you?
Morning. How you doing?
Good.
So,
Let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and let's start with Jonathan Scott.
okay.
1 second.
How you doing, Jonathan?
Well, hold on 1 second. I don't have the capabilities to unmute.
Okay.
Here we go. Go ahead, Jonathan.
Thank you. Good morning, Coach. How are you doing?
Good morning. How you doing?
Not too bad. Thank you for asking. What do you think is the biggest challenge or hurdle that you face in this preparation for this year's Super Bowl compared to last year's?
You know what? One of the biggest things is just making sure that we don't take this opportunity for granted. One thing that, in preparing, you just want to make sure that we're continuing to eliminate the distractions. We want to make sure that our guys are focused on the daily task. We want to make sure that we're on the same page and that we're over communicating with clarity. Then on top of that, we get our guys to come out and perform to be at their best. So far, so good. Our guys have maintained their focus. They've done a heck of a job throughout the course of the week. Going into this week, they're ready. They're excited about the challenge. And I tell you another thing, we just need to make sure that we're doing an outstanding job protecting the football. With all that said, as far as us taking care of our business, but on top of that, we got to take care of the football to give ourselves a chance.
Thank you, Coach, and happy Black History Month.
Thank you.
We'll go next to Sam Mellinger. Go ahead, Sam.
How you doing, Sam?
Good, thanks. I'll have a quick follow-up if that's all right. Eric, this is the second straight Super Bowl, right, where your sort of continued employment with the Chiefs has been a topic. You always have a smile on your face. I'm just wondering, like, where do you go to sort of deal with the frustration that I know you feel? Where do you go to deal with that and keep on keeping on?
Here's the unique part about that, Sam. I learned a long time ago to learn how to persevere through adversity. But the beauty of it is not so much that I have to persevere, because that's going to take care of itself. It's making sure that whatever is taking place with Eric Bieniemy isn't becoming a distraction and us pursuing our dreams and our goals. So one thing that you got to understand, I'm going to focus on what I need to focus on. Then it's time to turn the page. So at the end of the day, I want to make sure that our guys are ready. Okay. They're mentally prepared. They've watched all the film that they need to watch. On top of that, all right, they've gone out there, they physically put themselves in the right positions by working their tails off and applying everything that we've asked them to do to make sure that they're ready to play. That's how you get past that. You move on by making sure that we're focused on the goal. And the goal has always been to win the Super Bowl.
Okay. The other thing I wanted to ask, I know this isn't your focus right now, obviously, but are you getting any kind of constructive feedback from these teams about why they went a different direction? And are you altering your sort of presentation or interview that you do going forward?
You know what, at this particular time, I haven't had an opportunity to reach out to anyone to receive any feedback. I'll take that time after Sunday to sit back and reaching out, and then we'll just go from there. But like I said, Sam, when it's all said and done with, we got from today until Sunday, all right, till kickoff. My focus is making sure that the Kansas City Chiefs are ready to play and that we're going out there to take care of business. I'll handle Eric Bieniemy's business, okay, on Monday, sometime Monday evening or even Tuesday after I take a nap or a nice long night of sleep to start worrying about what I need to be concerned with me moving forward as far as the interviewing process went.
Their ability in the open field. I think that's been a huge part of it. It's been a great collective effort. We've been able to design certain things at points, but then there's been times where there's not much there, and our skill receivers are able to make a play.
Okay, next question will go to Nate Taylor. Nate, you can go ahead and unmute.
Hey, Mike, I have two questions for you. The first is, given your NFL experience, just how satisfying and rewarding was it for you to see Chad play so well when given the opportunity in the divisional round? And I'll have a follow-up.
Yeah, that was great. I was so happy for him. Last year he got injured early in the preseason, and Matt Moore was able to step in and kind of do the same thing for us when Pat got nicked up. So, it's been very rewarding to see those older guys step in. I mean, that's the reason why they're here, is to step in times like that. So last year with Matt, this year with Chad, and they prepped and they were ready. They never flinched, and they executed and ended up making plays for us.
Yeah, and I asked this question to you last year, Mike, so I'm going to do it again this time at the Super Bowl. Can you remember a moment where maybe the protection wasn't right or the defense called the right play and just Pat, just superseded the challenge that was put in front of him?
Oh, yeah. I mean, he does that often. He does that often during a game. That's what makes him special. Sometimes, those guys on defense, they do a good job too, and so sometimes we might be caught in a play. I think Pat's gotten better at understanding where his answers are, or, understanding where maybe there's something that, he can get to quicker, and he's done that. And he's made plays with his feet, made play with his arm. We know how special he is when he gets outside the pocket. And that's a part of his game that, we definitely don't want to take away.
Okay, next question will go to Adam Beasley with the Miami Herald. Adam, you can go ahead and unmute.
Hey, Mike, I know you were asked about possible head coaching openings. I was curious, have the Dolphins reached out to you about their OC job, and is that something you might consider?
No, honestly, right now, I've just been focused on this game. Those things, like I said, they'll take care of themselves. I mean, I'm not in any rush. The right opportunity, all those things are going to take care of itself after this game. I'm not worried about it at all. I'm not concerned with it. My only focus is getting the quarterback prepared and, making sure that we're ready to go in the Super Bowl.
Okay, next we will go to Mark Daniels. Mark, you can go ahead and unmute.
Thank you. Hey, Mike. So Mike, I know you spent a little bit of time in New England, I believe back in 2013. And just from this perspective, being, teammates with Tom Brady then, just seeing what he's doing now, just sort of how incredible is that just from your perspective, considering, you kind of, were with him back in the day?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think you need me to tell you guys how great Tom Brady is and what he's done, over the past decade plus. He's a great quarterback. He does all the right things. He plays the position the way it should be played. I got a bunch of respect for him, and my time in New England with him was great. He was great in the quarterback room, although it was short, but it was a great experience for me. And obviously he's going to be a Hall of Famer, one of the greatest of all time.
Okay, next we will go to Aaron Ladd with KSHB. Aaron, you can go ahead and unmute.
Coach, hope you're well. I got a quote from Robert Saleh the other day that said, "Don't be fooled by Patrick Mahomes doing this jump run where it looks like his feet hurt." How would you describe that little giddy up move or whatever, or just his athleticism in general, kind of being sneaky athletic out there?
Yeah, that's a great description of it, actually. He is sneaky athletic. He's faster than you think. His knees don't get very high when he runs, but you've seen him turn the corner on a few D linemen and some linebackers. So, again, that's part of his game. That's how it's always ran. I think the more comfortable he gets outside the pocket, the better he's going to continue to go.
Chiefs is very close to win back-to-back Lombardi Trophy. Is a new dynasty starting after the Pats era? And what do you think about the franchise's future?
Well, honestly, we just looking forward to playing in this game Sunday and trying to get a win against a good team in the Tampa Bay Bucks. We're not thinking about me specifically and not thinking about a dynasty or anything of that nature. I'm doing everything I can and in my power to prepare us to play the best game we can play on Sunday and get a win. That's the goal. And then you move on to the next opportunity when that presents itself. But you can't think too far ahead and worry about things that are 3-4 years away from anything like that. Is one day at a time approach. And what can we do better today to help us be successful on Sunday is how we're approaching this week.
Next question will come from Jerron May of WJPZ FM.
Hey, Coach, how you doing today?
I'm great. And yourself?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you for your time. So you were on the Patriots for a little bit, and as a former Patriot, you were trying to catch passes from Tom Brady. Now you're going up against him. There you go. So now you're going against him in a Super Bowl as a coach. So how is that as like what kind of goes through your mind as he's still playing and you were playing with him, but now you're coaching against him? What's that dynamic like?
Well, my experience in New England didn't go the way that I wanted it to because I didn't make the team that season. I got released. But being a part of the organization and being up there and getting to practice with Tom and getting to pick his brain on different things, I knew he can play till he's 100 if he wants to. So that's not surprising to me as he's continuing to play and he's playing at a high level. The amount of time and effort that he puts into being great, it shows on the field each time he steps out there. So for me, it's no big deal. We've played him before. I've talked to him pre-game, and we shared a couple laughs here and there. And then it's on the business when we get out there and he gets out there on the field and I get on the sideline and I'm coaching my guys and he's trying to do what he's doing on the other sideline. So it's exciting to know that you played against a guy or played with a guy, played against him too in the Super Bowl. So to see Tom's career still going, it's a testament to what he's done. But my focus is on, again, trying to prepare these guys to be the best they can be on Sunday.
Next question will be from Rob Romerhauser. Rob?
Oh, hi. Coach, thank you for taking my question. I wanted to ask you, how does the playbook change from game to game during the off season for the Chiefs? Is it somewhat or too private of a question? Thank you.
Good question. The playbook doesn't necessarily morph into anything different from game to game. Obviously, we take a look at our opponent and we try to find tendencies and different things, and then we devise a plan that best suits us and different ways that we think we can attack the team that we're playing and be successful. And that's pretty much the basis of a game plan for us here and pretty much around the league and around college and around high school. You try to put your players in the best situation to be successful and take advantage of things that you see on tape.
We are waiting for our next question. Next.
As a free agent, and he's always been somebody who had to fight through adversity. Just some of the guys who he had to compete with at LSU. Then he walks in here and he got Kareem Hunt, then Damian, Spencer and Damian Williams, then, LaShawn comes in, then we draft Clyde, and different things like that. But he continued just with his, forward progressing, understanding what it takes to persevere and battle through adversity. But just like he did at LSU and like he's done since he's been here, when his opportunity presented itself, he's taken advantage of it. And one of his greatest abilities is his dependability. Everybody on this offense, all of our coaches trust him. And they know what we're going to get from him, and we like it. We like it a lot. So, he'll continue to have those opportunities as we go into this Super Bowl game, and then we'll continue to build from there.
And we're going to go next to Paul.
Yeah, hi, Deland. I wanted to ask you about LaShawn McCoy. I was talking to Todd McNair yesterday, who was talking about the impact LaShawn has had on the running back room this year and with the Bucs as far as helping some of these younger guys, helping Leonard Fournette embrace his role this year. I was curious last year when you had him, he played a lot early and then, kind of didn't play much after that. How did he handle that with you last year?
Very professionally. You know, again, the relationships I know we spoke of maybe 10 minutes ago or so aren't a 1 year thing. You know, it's every year with me, you know, as far as just getting our relationship with guys in the room and trying to put those guys in the best situation to be successful. And sometimes it isn't what they want, you know, or what they envision, but just having to buy in and being professional is something that we definitely want those guys to continue to have. So, you know, something, you know, with Shady, you know, had some messaging with him a couple of weeks ago, man. I love that guy, you know, great guy to be around. Definitely had an influence when he was here, man. And I'm happy he's back in the championship game, but he know we got to go down there and take care of business.
Thanks.
We're gonna go next to Gustino.
Hey, Coach, how you doing? Sorry about that. I was muted. I work for a TV station in Ohio, and obviously you're an Ohio guy, and you have a tremendous story. And some people are familiar about that, but not everybody is. If you could, you know, maybe reflect a little bit about your journey, you know, going to back-to-back Super Bowls, you know, being an Ohio star running back, second all-time leading rusher at Miami, you know, and your personal journey, you know, finding your birth parents after a long time, and all of that. If you could reflect on that and how that's led you to this point.
Well, you know, I guess to sum it up, it's a long story, but I mean, you know, to sum it up, it's just, you know, been a story of perseverance, you know, and those foundations were laid, you know, back in Youngstown, just somebody who always had to fight to get, you know, what I thought that I deserved, you know, but I had to earn it. So, you know, those building blocks were put there. And as I went, you know, just kind of went through life and, you know, through high school, just continuing to fight and be behind guys and kind of rise up. And then, you know, ultimately getting the opportunity to go to college. You know, I only started 1 year in high school and then going to Miami and, you know, being 5th, 6th string, you know, obviously being recruited by my dad, which I didn't know who he was, my dad at that time, and putting myself in a position to become a 4-year starter. And when I graduated, I was the number 1 guy. So I can't control what happened after I left. But when I graduated, I was the all-time guy. You know, then going to the Bengals and having to kind of come from behind again there too. And just that's kind of just been what the story's been. I never may have been the number 1 guy walking into the situation, but I left it, you know, with a lot of respect from the people that I had an impact on and or that I played with. So that, you know, brings me, you know, here to the NFL. And it was a situation even here. I said, you know, I want to come in and learn, you know, come into the NFL, learn, and then earn respect. Those are my biggest things. Learn and earn respect, you know, on this level. And, you know, I was happy to say I feel that I've done that. You know, even as I look across the field right now, I look at guys I had an impact on. Like last year, the starting running back was Tevin Coleman. I coached him at Indiana, so it was a great reunion to have with him. And then this year, Ronald Jones. I coached him his last year at USC. So it's so many relationships and things that you know that I've had on this journey that make me look back on it and be extremely proud, you know, what has been accomplished up to this point, but it's not over yet.
On the fundamentals and coaching up, you know, our guys, and then making, hey, what are the 2 or 3 things you're going to be working on today or this week, and then now applying that to, you know, all right, am I blocking Sue? Am I blocking Golston, Vita Vea? You know, what different challenges, and then how does that apply with my fundamentals? You know, a general principle for almost every offensive line is going to be, hey man, let's create some width on that pocket, and then inside 3, we've got to be firm and square. Give the quarterback a place to step up. I mean, that's just football 101. That's fundamentals, and that's where you start, and that's what you hang your hat on, working on getting good at those things.
We have time for one more question. Matt Derrick with Chiefs Digest.
Hey, Coach. Good to see you. I hope you're doing well.
Thank you. You too, Matt.
You know, you're going to be going. Andy Reid mentioned yesterday that, you know, you're very willing to be able to go to Brett Veach and talk about the kind of guys that you need and you want. And, you're going to be starting an offensive line that's made up entirely of, free agents, undrafted guys, your own late round picks. How important has it been for you and Brett to get together on a philosophy and bringing in guys that fit what you want to do? As Andy said yesterday, that it may not always be pretty, but you get the job done.
Well, I think it's an important part of the process, and Brett, gives us our assignments in the off season. These are the guys we want you to have a look at. Tell us what you think about them. We write reports on them. We tell them what we think, and if we get an opportunity to weigh in on a guy, it's much appreciated to know that he listens to that. It's his job and his staff, our scout staff, to bring the players in, but it's nice that they include our voice as a part of that process. And so, in the offensive line, they're going to bring in who they bring in. Most of these guys I've had a chance to weigh in on. And again, Brett and his staff do a great job of bringing in people that love football. And that's number one. I mean, bringing a guy into our room that wants to be great at his craft, that wants to work, that's tough, and is going to be the same guy every day. Those are, qualities that are very important to me and really any football coach, I'd imagine. And those are the kind of guys he's bringing in. So, and then the guys that are in my room, it doesn't matter who they are, where they're from, man, we roll. Let's get to work. And this particular group we have this year, I absolutely love. These guys come to work every day. They're a lot of fun to be around, and they love to compete.
And apply it in game time and use it, and how much they can use. Those are the ones that are the superstars because they can think in game time, make the decision, have their body in the right spot, and be able to react to it. And I think that's what sets him apart, and that's what sets apart the great players in this league.
Okay, we're going to go back to Trajan for a follow-up.
Yeah, I just wanted to follow up on the offensive line situation for you guys' offense. It's been a sort of a revolving door with all the injuries that you guys have had along the offensive line, losing Osemele, losing one of your starting guards before the season, and losing both of your starting tackles due to injuries. So I just want to ask, is there an added importance on the tight ends and their ability to block and help maybe help sometimes in pass protection with and emphasize that with injuries along your offensive line?
Well, I think that's always part of the scheme as far as when you're going to, who's going to chip help, how much we're going to stay in on protection, how you're going to utilize it. And a lot has to do with the opponent you're up against and their scheme and those kind of things. So I think that it has been something we've always utilized, even with the, when we had Mitchell and Eric in there on the edges. And now obviously it's going to be important with Shaq and Jason Pierre-Paul on the edges there. There's two phenomenal guys. And we've been dealing with Jason since he was a rookie with the Giants when I was in Philadelphia and dealing with him. So yeah, you've got to, those guys command respect, and you need to know where they're at all the time and have to have a game plan against them. And it's not going to be the same look for them every snap. So we got to keep them guessing as far as how we're going to attack them as well. So get them thinking about us as well.
Okay, Coach Melvin's got a couple more minutes here if anybody else wants to raise their hand and ask.
X-Man, so he has an opportunity to climb up that ladder as well.
With that, thank you, Coach. We will see you later.
That's it?
You're done.
Oh, wow. That was
coordinator, Dave Toub. Coach, we appreciate the time. A reminder to media, if you wish to ask a question, please use the raise hand function on your computer. And a reminder to have your first, last name, and affiliation displayed. If you're called on to ask a question, you will be asked to momentarily unmute your microphone. First question, we will go to Lindsey Jones with The Athletic.
Hi, Dave. I wanted to ask you a little bit about the kind of the head coaching hiring cycle. I know you've been through this process a couple of times. What did you learn about when you went through it, about maybe what owners are looking for? And is there anything you can tell Eric now after he's been through this a couple of times and, you know, hasn't landed a job yet?
And I could tell Eric to just be patient, you know, because he's going to be a head coach. I mean, it's just a matter of time, you know, just don't lose faith in the system. Just keep working and doing what he does, and he'll be fine. Things that I've learned, I think I did my first one in 2012, and I did my last one in 2017. I did 4 of them totally. So I have 3 years now without doing one. So it's been a while, but it was a great experience. You know, I think each time I did it, I got better. I felt like, you know, it's kind of intimidating a little bit, but it's also exciting at the same time. And I think more and more times, I think special teams coaches should be considered for head coaching jobs. I mean, Joe Judge is a prime example of that, how well you can do, you know, in his first year. So I think, you know, they're great experiences, and, you know, and I wouldn't mind doing it again.
Next question will come from Andrew Kaufman with KMIZ TV.
Hey, Coach. You know, in the offseason, you guys got Andy Hill, the longtime Mizzou staffer, and you know, with you as well on that Mizzou staff. What has he brought to you guys in this first year?
Well, Andy and I, you know, obviously, you know, we go way back, you know, with our times at Missouri, and you know, Andy. I always felt like Andy was a great communicator, you know, and it's someone that I really admired, you know, when I was at Missouri as a recruiter. I mean, he was just, you know, off the charts, and that's proved to be the case here. You know, I had a chance to get him. I actually tried to talk him out of the job, you know, because I told him how much hard work it is, and how much he would have to go back to doing kind of graduate assistant type work, you know, and, you know, he was in college now for 24 years. I mean, he's an experienced coach, but I couldn't talk him out of it. He took the job, and, you know, and it was lucky for us because, you know, we got a guy that, he really did an outstanding job for us this year. He is a great communicator, and the guys really like him, and he's just a fun guy to be around. I mean, we have to spend so much time together, you know, because our staff is just him and I, and you have to get along with that guy, and that's one thing that we do. We get along really great, and he's a fun guy to be around.
Next, we'll go to Mark Potash with the Chicago Sun-Times.
Hi, Dave. I know it's an old story, but where do you stand in your careers? I mean, is the head coaching thing a personal void for you at this point? And also, what is it going to take for NFL teams to be convinced? What is the best selling point that a special teams coach can be a head coach without having to be a position coach?
Well, I think the fact that we talk to the entire team, you know, every day, you know, offense, defense, specialists. I mean, we got those guys. I mean, we have our hands on those guys. We understand the game from the offensive perspective, defensive perspective, roster management. I mean, who knows the roster better than us? I mean, you know, be able to pick the guys that are actually going to be up there in the week. I mean, you know, Coach Reed allows me, you know, to be an integral part in that, and that's a huge thing. I mean, that's so important. Game management. Decisions that happen, you know, in-game decisions. You know, when do you go for the first? You know, what do you kick it? Do you punt? The rules of the game, how important that is, and then overall, just being a leader of men. I mean, that's what we do. I mean, we're managers, we're the leaders of men, and we've got to motivate guys, and that's really what coaching's all about. That's what the head coaching job is. I just think more and more guys are going to be looked at. You know, special teams coaches are going to be looked at because of those aspects right there.
Everything. I mean, every film clip that you put on, you know, he's putting their guys in the right defense. That's always the challenge when you go against what I call a cerebral quarterback, and we know Tom is like that. He has total control. He gets them out there in time to change things. We're going to have to be really good on the back end, not to show him things, or as we say, don't let him read our mail. Because if he can read our mail, he knows exactly what to do. I tell you what, Susie, you can only do as much as your players allow. So when Dan says that, or some of the other players, part of that is because you have trust in the guys that you can do something on the sideline and trust that they're going to get it done. Because that's not always easy. I mean, a lot of coaches, myself included, don't like to run anything on game day that you haven't practiced. Sometimes you have to. And we may have to do that in this game, but we're going against one of the best. I mean, a guy that can change anything at any time. So he's probably going to be right. We just got to hopefully make a few more plays than they do.
We'll go next to Pete Sweeney. Go ahead, Pete.
Hey, Steve, from that week 12 tape of you guys and more comparing it to what they've recently done and put on some film, in what ways and what you're willing to share have you seen them taking some steps in just the 9 or 10 weeks, and what are you preparing for now that maybe you didn't see in that first game?
Yeah, it's not a lot of change. What I see is, you call it synergy, call it chemistry, call it whatever you want. I mean, they're clicking on all cylinders. And it doesn't matter whether it's defensively or offensively, once you start having success and it snowballs, and that's what I've seen them do, everybody gets confident. And look, you got the best quarterback in NFL history playing there. And I'm sure all of those players, as they started to have success moving the football, winning games, and they've got Tom Brady, I mean, it just snowballs. And I just see a unit that's clicking, great chemistry, with a great leader.
We'll go next to Osi Umenyiora. Go ahead, Osi.
My guy. OC.
Well,
I love it.
Well. What do we have here?
This is not right, OC. You're supposed to be putting pads on. You're not supposed to be on the other end of it.
Oh, man. I know, man. Hey, Spags, how are you, man? You doing all right?
I'm doing great, man. Great hearing your voice.
Absolutely. Hey, listen. I'm not there to see you face to face, but we got to continue our tradition that me and Justin will always continue. And I got to ask you right now, you're not scared, are you, Spags?
No, we don't get scared. You know that. You guys used to tease me about that. That's okay. I took it every time. If it got us going, that was a good thing.
Absolutely, man. Now, obviously, you have some really good football players, man. Some outstanding defensive linemen there. Chris Jones is there, who I like a lot as a player. Frank Clark, really good football player.
Yeah.
But Spags, that ain't Michael Strahan and Justin Tuck and Osi Umenyiora now. So what are you going to do to dial up the pressure to get the Tom Brady, man, that affects this guy pretty well?
Yeah, OC, I mean, every game is different. I mean, the game has changed a little bit from when we played back there in 07. The quarterback we're playing is still the same. He's still every bit as good. It may be a little bit different. We'll try pressure-wise and all that, but I just think we've got to be on point with coverage-wise and see what we can get with our guys out of a 4-man rush. I mean, we've called upon our D-line to do that in other games. They've done a nice job. The one thing about Tom now, I was just talking, I don't know if you heard it, OC, on the other question I had. I just think protection-wise, there's so multiple. It's hard to, overload or do certain things that we used to be able to do way back when. Maybe can't get to those now. I think Tom's really good at identifying things and emotions, and he gathers all that information, and then, he spits it out and puts them in the right place. So it's going to be man on man. It's going to be, if we can have, out of our 11 versus their 11, can we have more guys on point every play than they do? And if we do that, we got a good chance of being successful. If it's the other way around, then it'll be a tougher day.
Your guys up front, and then the secondary, when it's an interior one, it seems to open wide up. I know that's not just a coincidence that happens there. And then is there a sell job you've got to do to your unit when it is maybe giving yourself up, but becoming more of a blocker to open that up for those guys? Just how that all comes together.
Yeah, I think the coordination in that is an important deal. And anytime you're bringing pressure, getting all 11 on the same page is why that works to me. You look at some of those things and why they're effective. And a lot of times it's because the guys out on the perimeter who aren't involved in the pressure are doing a great job with whatever the disguise is, or with their coverage responsibility that doesn't allow the quarterback to have the quick and easy throw that he needs to be able to get the ball off to beat the pressure. So I do think all 11 are involved in the thing. There's also, like you mentioned, an element for interior guys or different people in the blitz. based on how the protection goes, you don't know who's going to be the guy who is unblocked or who gets the pressure or the sack or whatever it may be. Everybody's got to trust when they get the call in the huddle that if they execute whatever their specific responsibility is on that pressure, that it's going to work out for the defense. And I think that's the biggest thing that we've been able to get guys to buy into. And the players, I got to give them a tremendous amount of credit. They're not concerned about who gets the stat or who gets the credit. They're concerned about the overall effectiveness of the unit, of the team. And they've bought into that, and they've done a great job in being willing to do whatever they're asked to do for the betterment of the group, and understanding that we're all going to benefit if we have that type of mentality and that type of attitude. If we all do our job to the best of our ability, it's going to work out well for everyone. And I got to credit the entire group for having that mentality. And I got to credit Steve Spagnuolo as a coordinator for kind of guiding everyone and getting us to that point. I think he's done a fantastic job in that regard.
Okay, next question we'll take from Jaron May. Jaron, you can go ahead and unmute.
Hey, Coach, appreciate the time. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you, Jaron?
I'm good. I'm good. So I want to take you back to the Patriots, and I know you already talked about it a little bit, but you coached Chandler Jones when you were with the Pats. So specifically with Jones, how was your experience coaching him, and what is he as a player in your opinion?
Well, I really enjoyed my experience coaching Chandler. Hardworking guy. As I recall back, there's nobody that worked harder and studied more tape than Chandler Jones. He's kind of a gym rat in that regard, which I had a lot of respect for. He was constantly coming, hey, have you seen this? What about this? What about that? Yeah, okay, Chandler, I'll get you a cut up. I'll put it in there. And he'd watch every bit of it. So he was fun to work with from that standpoint. Got a tremendous skill set. I mean, he's a very athletic guy. He's got unbelievable body control. I used to call him Gumby. He could contort his body and get into awkward positions and come out of them as well as anybody I've been around. A lot of fun to work with. He was also a guy, was as effective when I had him, both outside on the edge. You could put him on the guard. You could put him on the center. You could line him up anywhere. And I've followed his career from afar, and he and I've kept in touch to some degree, but I don't know if people are doing that as much with him at this point in his career, but I respected that about him when I had the opportunity to work with him, and a lot of respect for Chan. Love him as a person and a player, and appreciate the time I had to work with him.
Okay, next we will go to Zach Cox. Zach, you can go ahead and unmute.
Hey, Brendan. Zach Cox from Nesson. Good to see you.
Good to see you, Zach. How are you?
Doing well. I just wanted to ask you, you'll be coaching in your 5th consecutive Super Bowl this week, which is obviously a pretty remarkable accomplishment. Just how fortunate do you feel to have been a part of 2 franchises that have been able to have this much sustained success?
Well, in one word, I'm extremely fortunate and extremely thankful. And, it doesn't go unnoticed. I kind of pinch myself on a regular basis, and I'm thankful for the opportunity to be coaching football at this time of year. There's not many people that get to do it, and it's a fun game to be a part of. Every one of them is unique. It does not get old. I can promise you that. And you work extremely hard to get to this point. It's an honor and a privilege to get that opportunity. And you're right. I've been fortunate to be in it a number of times in a row here. All of them are different. All of them are unique. All of them have their own challenges, but they're a blast to be a part of. No doubt about that.
Just have to see how Coach Spags feels and see the things out. These guys, they have 4 or 5 wide receiver sets. They have 3 and 2 tight end sets. So they throw a lot of different things at you. So you have to be prepared for any and everything. And throughout the course of this week and last week, we've been doing, a lot of different things. Is trying to find the perfect match for what they are. What we've seen on film, and we'll just have to feel out through the course of the game, because like you said, they're an explosive team. They've grown over the last 5, 6, 7 weeks since we played them, and they're a team to be reckoned with, and that's why they're the NFC champs, and we have opportunity to go up against them in the Super Bowl.
We're going to go next to Joe.
Hello, Sam, Madison. It's Joe down in South Florida. Good to see you.
Joe, what's up, buddy? How are you, man?
Doing well. It's an unseasonably 60 degrees in Parkland, Florida.
Hey, believe me, I've been keeping up with the weather. I've seen it.
Hey, Sam, I wanted to ask you about maybe some Dolphins coaches who helped influence the way you approach coaching now. And since you mentioned Jimmy Johnson specifically, what are some things you remember him saying or doing that maybe you kind of incorporate into your approach now?
Well, I say the one guy that really, helped me and inspired me was Mel Phillips, my defensive back coach. He was a guy that played 15 plus 18 years in the league. And, the way that he treated us from the day that we got drafted, or if there was a player that came in as a free agent, it always stuck with myself. And Pat Surtain and I, we always continue to talk about Coach Phillips, and if anybody that ever played with it still do the same to this day. But when you look at Mel Phillips for me, as well as Coach Jimmy Johnson, the preparation, being in tip-top shape, challenging you and pushing you to your max, because they knew and they understand exactly what type of game that it was going to be for 4 quarters, and having that preparation and that mindset to go out there and get it done, and expect anything when you get out there. It just was something that, I just continued to follow once I left Miami, and took the things that they taught me and, took it to New York and had opportunity to win a Super Bowl, always being 5 to 10 minutes early, always running on and off the field. We're defensive backs. We never get to come off the field. You watch wide receivers and, they rotate in and out. We don't get that opportunity. So, having these guys to understand that, we drive the bus from the back, because no matter if it's a big run, we have to some way, when we're in man-to-man, get the guy on the ground to live to see another day. But yet still, when there's a big play over the top, we are the ones that, they always look to. But, just having the mindset to go out there and get it done every single play, every single down, and give it your all, but, playing as one cohesive unit, that was some of the things that they instilled in me, and now I'm trying to give it back to the younger guys.
Spags does a great job of orchestrating in practice. Maybe not necessarily when you're going against the offense, but when the offense is up working their stuff against our scout team, then we might be overworking with Dan on a specific technique, whether it be at linebacker or at safety, whatever that is. And, but again, the thing I can't say enough is just about how much time Dan puts in on his own. And same with Tyron.
Great. The next question is going to come from Jaron May from WJPZ. Jaron, go ahead.
Hey, Coach, how you doing today?
Good. How are you, Jaron?
I'm good. So before, obviously, you got into the NFL, you were at U of Buffalo. So I want to take you back to that time. Number one, first question is, how was it coaching in upstate New York? And then number two, I'm with Syracuse University. So are there any recruiting battles? Because I know you were the coordinator. Were there any recruiting battles that you had with SU?
I have to go back. I can remember recruiting against them a little bit in Rochester, at Aquinas in particular. Certainly enjoyed our time in upstate New York. At the time, I got 4 kids now. I had one. I can remember everybody used to come up and visit us to go to Niagara Falls. And, that university, it's kind of a hidden gem. Really enjoyed my time there.
Thank you.
Next question is going to Christopher Holmes from NFL Chile. Christopher?
Hi, Coach.
Hey, how are you, Christopher?
Fine, and you? What's the hardest part of defending this versatile Buccaneers tight ends that can block, that can go in option routes and take the pass, and how hard it is to maintain the discipline and to defend them.
Yeah, I think, first of all, you said it, their tight ends can do a lot of different things and they do it well. Both of them can run real well. Obviously, Gronk he thinks just like Brady, and does a great job using his body to get open. And you know what? They're both overlooked a little bit in the fact that I think they're both really good blockers. And I think offensively, their staff does a great job of blocking the edge with both those guys. So certainly they're both going to be a huge challenge.
And then this and that. And I said, but you got to understand that you are one of the reasons why we are where we are. And so, constantly having the guys talk to them and make sure they check in with them. And then just to see him fight back and to come back this season with the knee injury and going through the rehab and being able to be on the football field during this run has been thrilling and exhilarating for all of us because of the fact that he worked so hard to get back to where he is today. I mean, you look at the Buffalo game just a couple of weeks ago. I mean, I don't think you could put on a film and find another safety in the playoffs this season or even last season that had a better game than what he had versus the Bills. And so I'm so happy for the young man to be able to play in his first Super Bowl, whereas last year he missed it. And so I take my hats off to the training staff here, Rick Buckholter and his staff, and what they did to help this young man get back on the field. And that's what families do. Family pick up the next person if he's down and try to make sure that we all let that person know that we love them. And so that's one of the things that we had to do with Juan is just continue to show him love. And he felt that. And now he's starting to, come into his own.
All right, next up, we're going to go to Jory Epstein.
Hi, Dave. How are you doing today?
How are you? Doing well.
Good. Thanks so much for your time. Travis Kelce talked to us last week about how when guys like Tyron and Patrick became even more vocal about social justice issues and some of their community impact over the offseason, it really set the tone in the locker room. How have you seen Tyron and your guys go about that advocacy, and how different does that feel from your playing days? And I've got a follow-up afterwards.
Ty, and I remember when the commercial, before the commercial aired, and Ty, Pat, and a couple other guys around the league, when they spoke up for social injustice, I remember texting Ty and saying to him, great, he and Pat told both of them, great job, young man. I hope this get aired on TV and not just on social media. And so when they stood up and they took a stand for what was going on and what is still continuing to go on in the country, I just felt like that was really big for our room as far as the defensive backs, as well as the team, but for our room as far as the defensive backs, because there's other guys who have, family members who have gone through some injustice, as well as family members who are in, whether it be law enforcement, whether it be any other thing that people have tried to place against one another and trying to divide the country. So there's two sides to every coin, but these young men to step up and to be able to speak out and be able to have a voice as far as what's right is right and what's wrong is wrong, I felt very, very, moved by that. And I opened the floor to our guys. I remember in the Zoom meetings this spring, and I would open the floor to the guys to be able to speak and say things that they wanted to say as far as what may have been happening at that time, current time, around the country. And so I just think that it was needed. It still is needed. And I just, appreciate our leaders stepping up, and for Kelce to say that as well, to recognize that our leaders, and when our leaders step up and they say things and speak against what's right and what's wrong, I think that just all of a sudden starts a trickle down effect to everyone else to be able to say, hey, speak up if something is wrong. Don't just sit back and just let things happen and not allow yourself to have a voice. And so, but those guys stepping up again, I don't want to keep talking in circles. I can keep going on and on about the fact that, it was needed and it was time. And so I appreciate them for doing it.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for that thoughtful response. And I know you spoke a lot about what that means inside the locker room. What message do you think it sends to the Chiefs to Kansas City and to the league whether it's the voting registration initiative or some of these other impacts, y'all are able to compete on the field at the highest level and still make this a priority institutionally?
Yeah, I think you just hit it because we are professional athletes and professional coaches. That doesn't make us any different. We go out to the polls, we stand in the lines just like everyone else, and we made it a priority to vote. And is, trying to educate people and trying to educate whether it's the Black community, Mexican community, whatever the community is, trying to educate people and let them know that your voice and your vote counts. I think that's the biggest thing that happened in 2020 for us as far as when it comes to voter registration, because when some players voted for the first time in their lives. And these are some guys that may be, mid-20s that have had an opportunity before, but to have the big movement that we had this season was tremendous for all of us. And so, but the education is what was needed. And I think they all did a wonderful job in getting out there and pounding the pavement and, having people to vote and trying to get people out there to the polls. And so, they all did a great job. Not only our guys, but all the other guys around the NFL have done a great job, be it Black, white, whoever it may be. But everyone stood up this season and spoke up, which was much needed.
Don't need, and should you work them? Are they underworked? Are they overworked? He has a great feel for it. He knows when to pull off and when to, push down a little bit. And I think that's part of, when you get a long stretch of time, whether it's a bye week or a 2-week Super Bowl, I think Andy just knows his team well. He's aware of it. And I think he just gears them up the right way to get them ready to play a game.
We'll go next to Len Jennings. Go ahead, Len.
Coach, how you doing today?
Great.
You were talking about feeding your players. Speaking about feeding your players, Chris Jones has been a fan of your wife's cooking. Michael Strahan has been a fan of your wife's cooking. And I was just curious because with the COVID and everything, I didn't know if she's been able to prepare meals and how that's been and if she's got some of the favorites for the guys this year.
And I'm a big fan of her cooking too, by the way. I've had that as #1 fan. It's funny, we have not, and really it has been because of all these changes this year. And Maria's actually been back in Philly quite a bit, taking care of her parents. So it's been a different year. And I had the whole COVID thing and bringing things into the building. We weren't able to do it. And it's a part of what Maria and I do that I really enjoy because it kind of makes her a part of, our unit. And I know the guys really enjoy it. So hopefully, when we get past all these protocols, we can pick that back up again. Because I know Chris, he misses his meatballs and they love the banana pudding. Antonio Pierce, we won the Super Bowl in 2007. And the first thing Antonio said to Maria was, it was the banana pudding. It was the banana pudding. So they appreciate it. I appreciate it. And hopefully we can get back to doing it next year.
Thanks, Coach.
We'll go last one to Allie Trost. Go ahead, Allie.
Hey, Coach, I was actually about to ask about Marie's famous meatballs, but my other question for you, and I hope you're doing well, and I hope her parents are doing well too.
Thank you.
L'Jarius Sneed, you've talked a lot about his focus, especially leading up into the season, and he's clearly impressed in ways that maybe were unexpected, for the fans and media, but not maybe unexpected for you all. How have you seen his confidence, though, progress? I talked with his defensive back at Louisiana Tech, Jeff Burris, about that. And that was something he said that he had to work on. So I'm curious, now that he's at the professional level and has found that success, how's his confidence progressed to you?
Feels real good to me. And I think part of that comes with the guys around him. And again, I go back to Tyron. He was great when LJ first got here. And, like any rookie, you come in and you don't know what to expect. And he's out there playing nickel and he's got a couple other, he's out there playing corner. and he's got a couple of other guys out there that have played quite a bit in this league. And yet he just put his nose to the grindstone. Like any of these young guys, we had to knock a couple of bad habits out of him, but he embraced it. Then the injury happened and it kind of set him back a little bit. I felt real bad for him because he was having a heck of a year. But during the injury, he showed that he is mature beyond his years in the work that he did while he was injured. To ask him to look at a position that he had not done in training camp and then be ready to do that when he was healthy, to me is really, really impressive. I mean, he's learning, even now he's learning on the go. We're having to live with some mistakes that he just hasn't seen just because he doesn't have the volume of reps. But I'm really proud of him. We're glad we got him. I know the guys enjoy having him out there. And, I'm looking forward to him being out there on Sunday. And hopefully he can continue to be confident and make some plays for us.
Thank you, Coach. That's all for today.
Okay, you got it. Appreciate it.